Welcome to Greater Good Radio Hawaii, where leaders inspire leaders. Greater Good Radio Hawaii is dedicated to social entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Evan Leong, and with me is my co-host, Carrie Leong.
Thank you, Evan. Today's guest is Andrew Aoki, principal and co-founder of ThreePoint Consulting LLC and College Connections Hawaii. Please welcome to Greater Good Radio, Andrew Aoki. Welcome to our show, Andrew.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit more about ThreePoint Consulting?
Yeah, ThreePoint is an idea that my business partner and I, James Koshiba, came up with as a way to match our own consulting skills or our own backgrounds with trying to do public good. And so we work primarily with nonprofits, but also with government agencies. Our backgrounds are in public policy, so we are really interested in moving forward a positive public policy agenda. So we do policy research papers, reports, evaluations, all that kind of good thing, and we've managed to keep busy enough to live.
What kind of company would come to you for consulting?
So take, for example, like a nonprofit organization. We've worked with both very small community-based organizations as well as larger organizations like, say, the Humane Society or the Academy of Arts. And oftentimes it's looking at strategic planning, so thinking about what they're doing as a whole, kind of taking a step back and working with their board and staff, trying to envision what they're going to do over the next few years. And it could be business planning. I mean, really looking at the revenues and expenses of a new initiative that a nonprofit might have. And of course, nowadays nonprofits are looking a lot more sort of at different kinds of enterprise models. And so business planning for nonprofits has become kind of a big deal right now.
So this is business strategy planning. Is it also how to incorporate the community and helping the community?
Sure. In fact, the most important niche I think that we're able to play, I hope, is really combining your mission with the business reality of trying to stay alive as well. And nonprofits, in fact, it's extremely challenging for nonprofits to do this because they have really two bottom lines. They have to, on the one hand, stay financially viable, but at the same time, and do all the things that businesses have to do, work with staff, meet regulations, do all of that stuff. But at the same time, they have a social mission that if they're not accomplishing what they need to accomplish, then they really have no, why do we exist, right? And so that's not always easy because a lot of times you're trading off between the social mission and your own business viability. So those are difficult questions, and working together with the board, you can figure out ways to really advance both at the same time.
Do you have any examples of successes that you guys have implemented with one of these organizations or so?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we worked with one organization that was considering an expansion into a new part of the state in terms of some of the services. I won't go into too much detail. I don't want to give away who it is, but because it's a business idea and it's still like in the works, so we don't want anybody to compete, right? So nonprofits are just like any other business. You come up with some ideas and you have to see them through. But in this case, we had to look at two things, not just the market in that new area. Okay, like how many people will demand the services, how much can they pay for them, and all of that, and how much does rent cost, and all the things you would do in a regular business. But really had to think hard about what's the need for it out there. What public good is going to be created by them being there? What are the needs? And this was a health organization. What are the health needs of those populations? Can they access this organization? I mean, all those things that maybe a typical business might not really care about. But for a nonprofit that has that bottom line as well, you have to think hard about what's the public benefit to what you're doing.
So tell me if this is correct. You're working with a regular company and you're pretty knowledgeable about the nonprofit organization, so you're bringing them together, how they can work together.
No, it's really just dealing with nonprofits.
Okay.
For the most part. We have done work with some for-profit organizations, and we've that are thinking about some of the social benefit of what they do. I think that's important work as well. And then we have government clients as well. So certain government agencies, they might be reviewing their programs or trying to work with the community better. We do a lot of facilitation with community groups. So anything, the common thread, of all of this stuff is that it has to produce some public value. And that's kind of what we think
That's your
ThreePoint is
criteria.
about.
That's
Right.
your criteria to pick up a client, is they have to have some kind of public value.
Right. It has to create some kind of public value. And normally we think of that in terms of, well, government does that. But we know that it's not just government. Nonprofits do that. Businesses can do that. For-profit businesses can do that. And individuals can do that. Right? So we don't discriminate in that sense. I mean, it's not just about government work or nonprofit work. It's really about how do we put all the pieces together in our community to create public value instead of just private value.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.